and welcome to the Stress Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Peggy Romero. I'm so thankful that you're joining me today for the podcast. We've been talking this week about surrendering. And as usual, there's a million different ways to look at that topic, but I chose to do an interview with a great guy named Josh, and he has had to surrender many times in his life, all different kinds of ways. And I wanted to introduce you guys to him. So this is Josh Rollins.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you for doing the interview with me today.
Of course. Absolutely.
So Josh is my sister's husband's son. So my sister's kind of his mom, but
we call her Jams.
yeah.
Hi, Jams.
What does that stand
Looking
for again?
famous.
Jenny and mom or something
Yeah.
mixed. So yeah, so they have a really nice relationship. And my sister introduced me to Bill, but she also introduced Josh to Bill. And I just want to tell you guys real quick that Josh has an amazing story. And, you know, in the 7 steps of stress mastery, that step number 1 is diet. And so Josh meeting Bill and learning about diet changed his life. So here's Josh. And I'm going to ask you, Josh, when did you first start having a problem, and what was your problem that brought you to Bill in the first place?
So at a very young age, I suffered from sort of chronic inflammation. I was working with the doctors I was working with. This started probably when I was around 10 or 11 years old. And at the time, they weren't quite sure what to call it. I would go in with bumps raised on my elbows or on my hands, or
From that much inflammation?
Yeah, from that much inflammation. And they would call it tendonitis or tennis elbow. They kind of they weren't quite sure what to call it, but the remedy at the time was to take 6 ibuprofen 3 times a day.
Anti-inflammatory.
Yeah. And that was kind of the story through my adolescence into my later teens. I think when I was 18 years old, they decided that that they thought it was rheumatoid arthritis, and they started putting me on other anti-inflammatories and steroids and whatnot.
Stronger stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I did that for a few years. Caused me some issues with high enzymes in my kidneys and my liver. So I decided I was going to do away with those.
You're only half in the video.
But I spent most of my adolescence trying to figure out what my inflammation was and how to fix it.
So you had no idea what it was caused from because you were a kid, right?
Right.
So I was thinking about surrender, you know, in these last few days since you've agreed to do the podcast with me. So you were a little kid having to surrender to the fact that a lot of days I'm not going to feel good, or I have to take all these pills, or did you have hope that things were going to get better, or were you fully surrendered to like, this is my life?
Well, yeah,
It
I
seemed
mean,
like it'd be tough.
at a certain point, I think that I had hurt for so long, at the point that I finally did get some relief, that it kind of seemed like that was just going to be my story. So I did, you know, somewhat surrender to that. I don't know that, you know, that was for my own well-being, but at that time, when you don't get an answer and you've been working with professionals for so long,
Yeah.
that, you know, do their best to look out for your own interests, but you still don't get results, and you've been struggling for that long of a period of time. I think at some point you just decide that that's going to be your story, and you try and figure out how to get used to that.
That's sad, especially because you were so young.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I know your dad, when I barely knew your dad when he got with Jenny, or I think before they got together, but he was telling me about some places that he took you for mud baths and anything that they could do.
Yeah. I chased quite a few rabbit holes trying to find a solution. foot soaks and yeah,
Oh, that's right. Those detox foot
yeah,
soaks.
yeah. When I decided I was going to do away with the ibuprofen and then later the steroids and all the other anti-inflammatories, I started seeking some help that turned into that.
It's more naturopathic
yeah,
or
absolutely,
holistic
yeah.
medicine. So you just got to a point then? Are you saying that you just said, I'm not taking any more drugs because they're not helping me anyways? Or,
Yeah, yeah,
oh, wow.
absolutely.
Then did you get even more pain then?
I did, but at that point I was used to it, right? You know, that had been my story
So
for.
were you able to work and all that kind of stuff?
I did,
or?
yeah. Decided to do manual labor of all things. Don't know that helped much.
Okay, so yeah, I was wondering about that. But you just figured that was your story, like you said. Okay, so then you meet Jenny, and Jenny's like, no, this can't be.
Well, yeah, Jen meets Bill. I would say, I don't know, it must have been probably 6 years ago now.
Probably.
Seems like forever, but it's been probably 6 or 7 years. Jen meets Bill at a convention, which I don't know anything about. They're chatting with each other.
I think she started coaching with him, maybe. I know she did coach with him. I don't know if it was before or after.
I'm not sure if it was, I'm not sure if she did first or either way. I don't know what that looked like, but I met Bill through her.
I want Josh to be in this video.
I met Bill through her, and I didn't know a whole lot about him. I suppose I assumed, and these are things that he is, but I assumed that he was kind of a nutritionist of sorts and didn't really dive too much deeper into that, right? Like that was the topic of discussion between me and him.
Yeah.
Because that was what I needed to address in order to address my inflammation.
He figured he could hopefully help you with diet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that was just a conversation between me and him that led to me getting some blood work done. Mm-hmm. Me going through with a diet reset. And I hardly knew him, but at this point, you know, you've already exhausted every other option. Why not give it a shot, right?
Of course. So you're probably thinking diet. Oh, really? What I eat is
imagine that what you eat makes you feel better. So I give it a shot, and we're waiting on my blood results to get back so he could take a little bit of harder look in that. But while we're waiting on that, I do a 2-week diet reset, and 3 days into my diet reset, my inflammation went away.
Oh my gosh, went away
into my 3rd day.
Wow.
So after hurting through all of my teens and into my adult life, it took me 3 days adjusting my diet and doing a diet reset to have complete relief of the chronic inflammation that I'd been suffering from.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you were like, man, this guy's the bomb.
Yeah. He must know what he's talking about.
That's really cool. So were you coaching with him, or were you just talking to him on the phone?
No, it was just a conversation, and he thought I needed some help and gave me a little bit of information.
Love Bill Court, right?
Yeah, as do I. So those were immediate, results through the diet reset. But while I was doing that, we were still waiting on the blood work. We get the blood work back, and some genetic testing, and what he notices is that I have high iron in my blood, and that he could tell it better, but that I got flagged basically for a genetic predisposition through my genetic testing that said that I have a potential to have hemochromatosis.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
And what hemochromatosis is a iron deficiency where your body cannot rid itself, or excuse me, not a deficiency, but an issue with iron, in which your body cannot rid itself of iron.
That's why it had such high iron.
Exactly. And when your body can't flush the iron, it just continues to cycle through your body and recycle through your body, and you never get rid of it. And what happens is that your muscle tissues and everything ends up getting inflamed because of that, because you cannot rid yourself of iron. So long-term solution, right? Fairly easy. I have to donate blood. I have to manage my diet.
Wow. So donating the blood.
Rids the body of the iron. Yeah.
Wow.
I just do it myself.
What do you mean you just do it
I
yourself?
don't personally do it myself.
Oh.
I get rid of the iron myself.
Yikes, I hadn't heard about this part.
American Red Cross does it for me, thankfully. My good is blood elsewhere. It's just excuse me, my blood's good elsewhere. It's just not good for me. So I go and I donate blood, and I manage my diet, and that, I mean, pretty simple things that give me control over my own health and well-being. I mean, those two things absolutely changed my life, and changed my life quickly, and it gives me control over my life.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, because these things, although they're easy, we talk about surrender. Diet and exercise, I continue to get stuck on, right? And
steps 1 and 2 of stress mastery.
Yeah, absolutely. And my body has a tell. When I'm not feeling well, I start to get inflamed. If I'm not treating myself well for long enough, I start to get inflamed. And there's always an answer, right? I fall back to the diet reset. I think that, I don't know, I've probably done it a half a dozen times by now, which is probably a little overkill. But the fact of the matter is that there's always a solution at this point.
Well, you know what the solution is, because you've experienced 100%.
Yeah. And
Josh told me he hates the diet, by the way. But when I did that reset, I called you and I said, hey, can you give me some recipes and tips? And he's like, no, I don't have any recipes. I don't make chili out of the beans. I just eat a can of beans. And I'm like,
beans and
all right, you're not my guy. I need recipes.
Yeah, I kept it simple.
Real simple. So no wonder you don't want to keep redoing the diet.
Yeah. So I was thinking about surrender, and the topic of surrender, and me continuing to fall back on my diet reset and struggling with my diet and my exercise, and the guilt and the shame that we hold on to for falling down and having to get back up, and that whole process. I think when I think about surrendering, I think about surrendering to that process, and the fact that I'm a human being and we make mistakes and we got to pick up where we left off. And I think if you remove the guilt and the shame of it all, and you release the weight of all of that, although that is going to be the process, it doesn't have to be so hard, right? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to hold that weight when you're trying to pick yourself back up.
Exactly.
And
Forgive
pick up where you
yourself
left
and
off. Absolutely.
get back on it.
Yeah. So I might have everybody beat in the diet reset category. I don't know about anybody else,
but you know how to do the diet reset for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that you had told me a couple days ago that so he meets Bill on the phone, wasn't coaching. By the way, you guys, Bill's amazing and just did this for a favor to Josh or to Jenny or to mankind itself. He's just a loving guy who really does want to help people shift the planet. So then Josh went to at least one event with Bill, and he was telling me that he didn't know that there were 7 steps of stress mastery. He was just going more to talk to a nutrition guy, right? And I wanted you to talk a little bit about that, because I was telling him if you could name the ego, you'd realize it was your ego trying to keep you down, and do the let go technique would be good.
Yeah, ironically enough, I think that like I said, I've spent the last 5 or 6 years stuck on the diet and the exercise, and I haven't given myself an opportunity to dive much deeper than that. But sitting here thinking about surrender and understanding yourself more, and your being and your habits and why you do things, I think probably if I dive deeper past the diet and the exercise
Mhm.
into the ego,
Yeah.
and into all those other steps. I think that probably makes steps 1 and 2 a little bit easier on me.
It does. Yes, there's 7 steps. So
Yeah, yeah.
they work like this really, really well. Yeah, I actually think that Josh doesn't want to get up an hour early to do Green Focus Power Hour, so he just refuses to take those next steps because he doesn't want to get too close to that one.
I probably shouldn't tell everybody this, but Bill let me do it for 10 minutes at a certain point just to get me doing it. Sorry, Bill.
Yeah, well, whatever it takes to get started is okay. So, yeah. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about how the events were and how you felt when you were there. Did you learn stuff there? Did it help you? Because we do have a really great event coming up that I know that Josh is about to get a really amazing opportunity. So he may not be able to attend the event that he was so looking forward to coming to. But knowing that there was another one, he said, "Oh yeah, I totally want to go because I've been to a couple others." So do you want to talk about those?
Those events really were more diving into knowing yourself a little better. I don't know, it's been a couple years since I've been to one.
Yeah, he hasn't had one for quite a while because COVID.
Yeah.
I know you went with Kimberly, my daughter, to Orlando. I think that was maybe 4 years ago.
That was quite a
I'm
while
not
ago.
sure.
Yeah.
A while
Yeah.
ago.
Yep. Bunch of great people. Obviously all trying to do better in their lives, whether it's financially. It touches on everything, right? Like I said, for me, most importantly, probably for everybody, most importantly, obviously, is the diet and the exercise and being well and being able to
Do all the other
manage all
things.
those other things, right?
Exactly.
But
You can't do
how to
everything.
manage your money, right? How to find peace, how to chase a career that is fulfilling,
Mhm.
how to have healthy relationships and communication with people. It's just a broad variety of things that encourage you and give you tools uh, to make your life better, right? In all ways, right? That's what I gathered from it. Since I've met Bill, even career-wise, I'm back to doing what I was doing years ago, but at a time where I thought that I wasn't going to be able to change careers and I was trapped and I was scared to try anything else. Encouragement from Bill and being surrounded by the right people and encouragement from my family, I made a leap and I tried something else. And for that alone, regardless of the outcome, it gave me freedom, right? Because it allowed me to leave something that I couldn't wrap my mind around walking away from. I thought, what are they going to do without me? How am I going to learn a new skill?
Yeah.
All the fears that go into trying something new and walking away from something you're so comfortable with. And that was something else that's happened in my life since working with Bill, right? A big career change. And
Yeah, and you had the courage, just the little bit that you did work on yourself, to step out of your comfort zone and go try something.
yeah,
And so many people in the world are just stuck there. They're paralyzed in fear and afraid to get out.
absolutely.
What if I fail? Well, whatever. You
Yeah.
fail, you get back up, go back to your old job if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully you won't. Hopefully you'll dust yourself off and figure out how to do it better the next time,
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's
and
great life lesson.
yeah, and that's how I felt, honestly. I felt trapped. It felt terrifying. Couldn't imagine trying something else. And the fact of the matter is that when I did it, I was relieved, like all the feelings of fear that you feel when you go into something like that, they all go away as soon as you follow through.
Yeah.
So
you did it.
Yeah. I mean, that was a life lesson in itself, right? Those feelings go away as soon as you follow through.
Yeah, even if you fall, you still did it.
Yeah.
So it makes you feel way better. Yeah, I always think that just one step in the right direction, you kind of knock off a little bit more of the crap that you've been carrying.
Yeah.
Just that. And then you get more and more confidence. Like Well, I tried it before and it didn't kill me. So now you
Right.
got the guts to go try
Exactly.
something else.
It's not even it's not the fall that hurts. It's the idea of falling. Right.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
once you do it, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad.
And then you can also take like what you learned in career into any of the other life categories, which is, well, kind of what you did with health. Like, okay, I got this. Well, let me go try this now.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah, it is. It's really amazing how it all works. So hopefully you'll be able to get into the whole 7 steps of stress mastery. I know you will. You're still young. You're still working hard at
I am.
everything.
I'm still working at it.
Yeah. Well, we're all a work in process. We're all where we're at. And I really wanted to bring Josh on, you guys, to like tell you, because he said, well, I'm not perfect at it. None of us are perfect at anything. We just have to keep doing it. Just keep persevering. So one step leads to another. I know that sometimes people have a really hard time and you just feel like, oh, I can't do it anymore. This is too hard or whatever. But that's so not true, right? Like you have to keep doing that over and over. Surrender to, okay, I have to do the diet. If I do the diet, and the body supports the mind. So if your body's feeling terrible, your mind is all screwed up too.
Yeah.
Like you can't even get up for the day, right?
Yeah. Surrender to the process, whatever that looks like, and don't let the guilt and the shame of being imperfect hold you down, right?
Yeah, because that's what the ego wants. The ego's trying to keep you down here, but you're a alive, loving being that needs to keep progressing, keep moving forward. Well, Josh, do you want to talk about anything else or?
Not that I'm aware of.
Josh was really scared to get on here, so I'm so proud of him. Stepped out of your comfort zone. You did great. Thank you.
Of course.
Well, guys, that's it for today's podcast. I thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you all at the Rise Up and Shift event. It's going to be amazing. We have lots of stuff that we're planning and so many things in store. Can't wait to see you there. As always, until the next time, stay inspired.